Today, let's take a flashback, a power playback, if you will.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to Soundout's Power Playback, a name totally not stolen from Mighty Morphin reruns that somehow spawned its own toy line way back when. We're going to use it because it's cool and it sounds neat. This is going to be a series where I sort of bring back some old videos, probably all Power Rangers related, but in this case, because of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always special that's out now on Netflix worldwide, I thought, hey, let's bring back my interviews with Catherine Sutherland and Steve Cardenas, who play Rocky and Kat respectively. I filmed these back in 2014, and they were uploaded here in 2014, but I thought it would be kind of fun to revisit those, kind of repost them, and that way if you've never seen them, you get a chance to see them in a new format. That new format meaning, here's a new introduction because I can't really do anything to the video, it's digital. If it was film, I would have had a 4K scan for you, and it would have looked pretty, and still sounded weird because it was shot in a convention hall. These are some of the first interviews I ever did in my life, so apologies if they're a little awkward or weird. I hadn't quite figured out how to do interviews properly in the beginning. I've done much better ones now, like the Melissa Flores interview I did with Zeltrax Millennium over on Hero Club, so check that out. There will be a link in the description. And in general, this is just kind of a fun way to look back. So if you want to complain about how I looked or talked or sounded 9 years ago, by all means, go for it. Engagement is engagement. Enjoy, engage in the content. But at that time, you know, that was something that was kind of early in the channel, and it was something where I had a press access to a convention, so I took the chance to interview two great Ranger actors. So on that, let's take a look at my old interviews with Steve Cardenas and Catherine Sutherland. So, this is Soundout here at the Albuquerque Comic Con. Today I'll be interviewing Steve Cardenas, who played Rocky in Power Rangers, throughout Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Zeo.
Yep.
So we, at Hirotaku, are big Power Rangers fans, so we always like to take a chance to interview the actors that are Power Rangers. And the question that I always have is, how are the interactions you have with fans at conventions, and overall your general impression of the fandom?
Well, I mean, obviously, anybody that's not grateful for their fans shouldn't be coming to these shows or anything like that, So I'm really grateful for my fans, I didn't realize I had so many fans, because after I stopped doing the show, I didn't really have anything to do with acting or Power Rangers or anything like that for many, many years. And then in 2007, they put together something called Power Morphicon, which was like a Power Ranger convention that was just solely for Power Rangers. So I got invited to that, and when I went to that show, I remember first walking out of the hotel lobby and walking to the ballroom that we were about to do the show, and there was a whole group of people just lined up, and they started cheering and applauding as soon as I walked out, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize there was so many fans, They were still around, and they still existed, So I was pretty happy about that, and, really grateful and really glad to be a part of something so cool.
So the question I was going to ask is, how's your life been since Power Rangers?
I started out my career as teaching martial arts, That's what got me into Power Rangers, because they hired me because I knew how to do martial arts. So that's always been my love, has been being a martial arts instructor. I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life. So after Power Rangers, I opened up my own martial arts studio, and I've been running martial arts studios ever since.
It's pretty impressive.
That's what I still do now.
All right. So, back in 1994?
1994.
You were replacing the Red Ranger, which was the current leader of the team.
Yeah.
Were you ever nervous about filling in a huge role because of this large success that was happening at the time?
Oh, yeah, I was really nervous, I was really worried that how the fans were going to react to me because, I knew there were going to be a lot of pissed off people,
Yeah.
So I just was hoping that, I'd be able to at least try to live up to it, And, the thing was that everybody on the set was really cool to me. So that really helped ease me into the transition. But yeah, in the beginning, I was very nervous about it. The fact that I was replacing somebody. But over time, everybody accepted it.
So the thing that always comes up to mind is, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie was filmed during the course of the TV series. How was it different filming for that movie as opposed to the series itself?
It's a good question. This TV show was filmed on a really tight budget, and we had to move everything very, 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 very quickly, you know. So everything was shot really, really fast, and we were shooting several episodes at a time. You know, we were shooting 2-3 episodes at a time. So we'd do many costume changes, wardrobe changes, different sets, bouncing around the sound stage, you know, all day. We'd work like 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and it was no joke. The movie, though, was a lot slower. I found myself sitting on my trailer for hours sometimes with nothing to do, because they would just film, you know, we'd film a scene and we'd do the same scene over and over and over and over. We did like 30 takes on every scene, so if I wasn't in a particular scene, I could be gone for hours. Yeah, sometimes I'd have days off, you know. So it was really like, you know, we would film sometimes like, you know, 2 episodes in a week on the show, and then the movie, it took like 4 months to complete the movie. You know, 4 months for an hour and a half segment. So, you know, there was a definite difference as far as, you know, the production value was much bigger and much greater as well too.
So they could afford to pay all the people for those extra time.
They could afford to pay people for the extra time, exactly.
So, me personally, I'm studying to be a film crew person.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering, like, did you have a good relationship with the crew that was working on Power Rangers while you were acting?
Yeah, when I was on the show, I was friends with more of the crew members after work than I was with the cast members. You know, nowadays I'm more friends with the cast. You know, I see them at the conventions all the time. We hang out together on a regular basis. But when I was working on the show, you know, when I was done with the show, I was done seeing those guys. I'm like, you know, but I would always hang out with the crew members all the time, you know. Some of those guys were like some of my best friends.
That's cool.
And still are.
All right, so in Power Rangers Zeo, you went from being the Red Ranger to being the Blue Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel like your character may have been lessened because of that?
I'm sorry.
Like, maybe your character did not have as significant as a role because you're now blue instead of red.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as significant. However, though, it really wasn't. I mean, once Tommy became the White Ranger and the White Ranger was the leader, it was already known, you know? I mean, it was already known that the Red Ranger was already, like, you know, taking a back seat anyway. So it was really no change. I mean, everybody knew that Tommy was the leader. And so when it switched from Mighty Morphin to Zeo, there was really no difference in my role or in the command or the chain of command, so to speak. You know, so I don't really know that people would think that. You know, only in the beginning there might have been confusion. You know, but you know, anyone that took it all the way through Zeo really knew that whatever my role was as the Red Ranger in Power Rangers is the same as Zeo. Not as significant as Tommy is what I mean.
So, when a lot of people saw a Turbo Power Rangers movie, did you ever have any fans asking you if you were actually injured?
Yeah, all the time.
Is that just a common question?
Injured. Yeah, they ask me all the time. But I was not injured for real. It was just part of the script.
Well, that's good. Let's see. So, there's been a lot of stories of when the Power Rangers actually working the show, a lot of them ended up becoming roommates to afford costs of living and food during the production of the series because of how much time you're spending on set and how little pay that would be coming in.
Yep.
Did you have any of those kind of issues?
No, I lived on my own when I was on the show. I didn't have roommates from the show or cast members that I lived with or anything like that. You know, I took the money that I got from the movie, and that really helped me to be able to, like, you know, to live. And then from that, I took the money for that I got from the movie, and I opened up my own martial arts studio. And so then I was getting that extra income from the show and this karate school as well. So, you know, I was able to afford to live on my own.
All right. So, let's see. All right. So here's a little fan question. What was your first thoughts of seeing yourself as an action figure?
Well, the first day I was on the set, they had one of the set photographers come up and stand me like against the wall, and then he walked around and took a 360 degrees worth of pictures of my whole head. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, well, because we have to we have to get, you know, every angle so we can make the doll for your head, for the doll." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to have a doll. So I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, who would not like that?
Yeah, just yourself is immortalized in plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
So are you glad that these series has seen some added popularity because of the Netflix and the DVD releases in the
Netflix,
past
the
year?
DVD releases, the 20-year reunion. Yeah, I'm very, very happy about it.
All right, well, I was really glad to talk to you today.
Cool, thanks, man.
It was fun talking to you, and you have anything you'd like to promote for what you're doing upcoming?
If anybody ever I have tons of shows coming up for 2014. If you look at my Facebook fan page, I'm going to keep everybody posted on that. So it's facebook.com/Steve Cardenas 123. That's my Facebook fan page. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve Cardenas PR, and also I have a jiu-jitsu studio called Force Balance Jiu-Jitsu. You can look that up at www.forcebalancebjj.com.
All right, well, thank you for talking to me. Be sure to stay tuned to HeroTalk.com for more interviews. Hello, this is Soundout here at the Albuquerque Comic-Con, and today I'm interviewing Catherine Sutherland, who played Catherine Hillard in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zeo, and Power Rangers Turbo. So how has life been since Power Rangers?
Good, busy. I'm a mom. I'm always doing a million projects at once, so yes, I'm always busy.
Well, that's always good. You never want to ever have too little going on in life and just too little happening. But so you were a late addition to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You were the last new Ranger to be, or the last new replacement Ranger, as they say, to the series. And so was it kind of difficult because of how soon the transition to Zeo happened? Did you ever really feel like you fit in as well with the Mighty Morphin series as much as you did Zeo?
Oh, I've never been asked that question. Well, they were all very close because they'd been together for quite a while, but they really embraced me, and I never felt like an outcast or anything like that. I fit in pretty quickly. And then when we did Zeo, I felt like that's when I really got to embrace my character more and get to know her, and the storylines were a little deeper. So no, I never felt like I didn't belong or anything like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So you worked on both Mighty Morphin, or you didn't work on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, but you auditioned for it, didn't you?
I auditioned for the part of Dulcia, actually.
That's what we've been hearing for years.
Yes.
And so, was there any specific reason they ever gave you for not casting you as Dulcia?
No, I think Gabriella was fantastic as Dulcia. I was probably too young. She was very mature and wise, and I think she was a perfect cast. So yeah.
So when it came to casting for the series, how did they end up deciding that you were the actress they wanted?
Well, I went in, I auditioned, and then I had to do a martial arts routine. And then my final audition, I had to meet with the producers. It was down to about 7 of us at that point. And then I got the call. It was probably like a month later that I'd gotten the part. So I'm not sure. I've never really asked them why they chose me specifically, other than I think I was just very different from Amy Jo. She's so tiny. She's so petite. They used to have to put her on boxes when her and I were speaking. She was so much smaller than me. But she was very sweet and cute and pixie and kind of looking, and I'm tall and blonde and from another country. So I think it was good casting on their behalf because it was very different. I think if they chose someone similar to her, it would have been harder for the fans to accept it. I think our characters both brought different things to the table.
So the thing is that with some series nowadays, if they do a quick cast change, it'll usually be that character's introduced in the same episode that they become the series regular.
Right.
Later on in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, they had Valerie Vernon was sick with leukemia, and her replacement actors came in the next episode and became the Pink Ranger in that episode.
Right.
So did you like the fact that your character did get some build-up to actually becoming the Pink Ranger?
I loved that part. That was some of my favorite episodes, was when I was evil and I was becoming, trying to fight. I was fighting in battle inside myself of whether I was good or evil, and then when Kimberly transfers the powers, I thought that was really fun and really well done, and they needed to do that for her and for the fans because she was such a loved character. She's still, people go crazy for Kimberly. They love her. So I'm glad that they gave her and I that time,
So with a show like Power Rangers, of course, they take the Japanese footage and then you have to do dub over the lines. How was that different from acting in front of the camera?
The ADR work is actually very hard. You have to voice match, so they show the scene on a screen, and you have to do all the stuff to match the fighting. And then sometimes I would have to voice match myself because the audio wasn't good when we recorded. So if there was wind or like we are here with a lot of sound, we would have to redub it. So you have to match. If I was saying Tommy, I had to match myself saying Tommy. So we became very good at it because we had to do it so much. But it's quite hard. And that's actually what's led me into doing voiceover later on because I did so much of it. It's become a lot easier for me over the years to do it. Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Alright, so Turbo Power Rangers movie. The movie was done with a lot of the same like sets. The effects were a little bit enhanced. But was it any real different filming that movie as opposed to the TV series?
That was the thing with Turbo. They stuck more consistently with the show, so we didn't have as much of the big effects that they had in the first movie, which I think the fans actually liked that part of the movie. Just that with movies, there's a lot more time that goes involved in setting up shots and lighting and makeup and pickups and stuff because it's on a bigger scale. So there was probably a lot more waiting around. It takes a lot longer to film a movie, so whereas the series would knock like 3 episodes out in 2 weeks, the whole movie took a lot longer than that. So it's a very different experience.
So being a part of 3 different series, you had to learn the morphing sequences.
Yeah.
And I heard about this during the panel, how you're having sometimes the morphing sequence is a little complicated.
Yes.
And was there how did they teach you what the moves were going to be for the morphers?
Well, sometimes Jason came up with Turbo, just okay, we're going to turn a car and then we're going to turn the key, and he just kind of created that, and so we're like, okay, that's what we're doing. With Zio, I think the stunt coordinator figured that one out for us. So. Yeah, and I mean, we did it so much that you become used to it, but connecting the morphers was challenging. I mean, there was many, hit yourself in the face, moments like that. But I think they looked really cool when we were in sync doing it together. It looked great.
It looks great in the series because everything is they designed these morphers in Japan, and then Japan does it completely differently with their poses, and so it's really neat. It's always neat watching the Japanese series and watching the American adaptation, and then seeing how they are different.
Yes.
It's taking the same fight scene footage, but you're looking at 2 different shows.
Yes, totally different. It's much more adult, the Japanese. Much more adult, and it's actually a longer show, I think, than ours.
They usually run about 49 to 52 episodes a season.
Yeah, so... And I've only seen parts of the Japanese episodes. I haven't seen a whole episode, but I know it's still going, so it's still popular.
It's still doing good.
Yeah.
Let's see. So is there anything that was particularly memorable that happened on set or while you were shooting Power Rangers that just was a fun memory you had?
Like I said in the panel, I always really was very moved by the Make-A-Wish and Starlight Foundation children visiting the set. One day I did get to go to a hospital and visit a cancer ward, and it's very painful, but it's also such a gift to be able to touch these kids' lives and make them smile and make their wishes come true. It's it feels very surreal, actually, you feel like you're doing something on a greater scale. I really felt like I was doing God's work in those moments. So that to me is what always drew me to acting, was that I could affect people on a big scale like that. So I miss that part of it.
So, you've obviously come to a few conventions. How do you like the fandom so far? What is your general impression of the Power Rangers fans?
Well, they're incredibly committed and devoted to the show, which is amazing after 20 years that they're still so into the show. I remember the first convention I did being really shocked and surprised that people remembered me or knew the show even, you know, like I'm like, really? This is crazy. We had lines and stuff. So I think I think I'm just humbled and surprised by that. I find all the fans to be very sweet. They're always very gracious to us, very kind. I'm always impressed with how many military people we have that watch the show. I mean, they're the true heroes, but that they take the time to come and meet us is lovely. Yeah, and I don't know how much longer people are going to want to come and meet us, but we're really enjoying the ride right now.
There's always a new generation of fans with the DVD
That's
releases
true.
and the Netflix streaming.
That's true.
And it's really great. Thank you for talking with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Would you like to promote anything of yours, your Facebook page?
You know, if I have anything coming up, I always post it on my Facebook page, which is Catherine Sutherland Official. And I love hearing from everybody, so please friend me and send me messages. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I always, if I'm doing any conventions or anything going on, I always post it on that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, stay
Bye.
tuned to HeroTalkie.com for more interviews from Albuquerque, Alabama.
So I hope you enjoyed those. Like I said, I've gotten much better at interviews, I think, since then. But hey, that's what 9 years will do to you. So that does it for this Soundout Power Playback. What will the next one be? When will it be? You'll see when I need a video put out between something or to tie into an event, and we'll see what that is in the future. If you like this, hit the like button and hit the subscribe notification bell. There's plenty more Power Rangers videos on the channel, as well as all kinds of other types of videos. I like keeping the variety up. It keeps me interested and excited to keep making videos for everybody. Also be sure to check out my live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern here on this YouTube channel. We talk a lot about Power Rangers and like everything that goes in with that. Also be sure to follow me on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok where applicable. Also be sure to check out my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643. And you can check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Power Rangers interviews, comic reviews, and more. So until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.